Sebastian Vettel.
Well done to
So the national anthem then for Germany and for Austria, for driver and constructor. And the Deputy Prime Minister presenting Sebastian Vettel with his second winner's trophy here in Singapore. Back-to-back years he's won here. And a great moment as well for Ollie Schack, who's a front-end mechanic on Sebastian Vettel's car, who's been chosen to come and collect the Constructors' Trophy.
Nice touch from the team. You can see the other mechanics down there looking up thinking, oh, that might be me one day.
Makes them work just that little bit harder. Not that they could, these guys. They never slack off for a minute. There's Jenson Button to collect his runners-up trophy. Another 5 years, at least, of the Singapore Grand Prix in Formula One. The new deal has been done. And, well, read that face if you can. Happy, concerned, worried.
I don't think he's that happy about it.
Well done, gentlemen.
There were two cars, two teams, 4 cars out there faster than him today.
At your feet is...
But it could have been worse. He got to the line, others didn't. It's champagne and fireworks under the night sky here in Singapore. And for Sebastian Vettel, it's exactly what he needed. No alternator problems here tonight. Lewis Hamilton suffering the mechanical unreliability. Vettel took full advantage to come home and win again. And now we wait to see who's going to be talking to the drivers on the podium. And as neither of us have run along to do that one, Martin, it'll be a surprise.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure these little post-champagne chats work that well, if I'm honest. Some better than others.
So a big crowd down on the track and in the pit lane.
And now to interview the drivers on the podium, the legendary former Formula One team owner and now TV broadcaster, Eddie Jordan.
Yeah, so, EJ, the mic is yours.
Welcome everybody, and the winners here. I think we should start with Sebastian. Sebastian, first ever back-to-back winner here. Tell us, what's the secret?
Got my own.
Oh, BBC
Well,
don't have their own, but anyway, please go ahead.
Thank you very much. I think it's one of the toughest races all year, to be honest. It's very long. We did the full 2 hours. The circuit is a killer. There's so many bumps. There's no space for mistakes, and the race just seems to go on forever. And obviously, we benefit a little bit from Lewis's failure, which I could see a couple of laps before that he lost oil. And yeah, obviously after that, I think generally we had a very, very strong pace all weekend. And a good start, which got us into second and in the hunt. The pace was there, so I'm just incredibly happy and proud, because this is such a tough race, so proud to win it. And I would like to dedicate it to one very, very special man, Mr. Sid Watkins, who passed away. And he will be remembered for sure. I think he's...
Well done.
one of the biggest reasons that we can go out on a circuit like this, enjoy ourselves, and be reasonably safe, because he pushed the boundaries in terms of safety for all of us. So a big thank you. And,
Hear, hear. We support those sentiments enormously. But I just have to ask you, can you see something reminiscent to the fact of 2010, how you came from this position to just sneak that win and the championship in 2010?
Yeah, I think Fernando wouldn't be too happy if that happens again in the last race.
I'll ask him something nice in the end, don't worry.
But no, I think it's an incredible season for all of us. Approaching the weekend, not knowing what's going to happen. Everything can happen in the race, so it's a lot of fun for us, for the people to watch. But I think we have a lot of races left. The car seems to be competitive, and we just got to use the momentum and keep pushing in the next couple of races to make sure we finish ahead of those guys.
Thank you. Jensen, I've got to ask you, what did happen on the restart?
Sorry, Eddie?
What happened on the restart? You were complaining on the radio. We could hear you in case you couldn't hear yourself. Can you ask him?
First of all, good evening, everyone. Was that fun? Good, I'm glad. It was pretty tough 2 hours for us, but the restart, Sebastian accelerated and braked for the right-hander, and I just didn't expect that. Such a speed difference. So I hit the brakes, locked up, and just missed the rear of his car, which would have been quite embarrassing. But we got through it, and it's a good second place. I'm reasonably happy with that. We all want to win, but you can't win them all.
Does that second place, does it make up in some small way for Monza?
Yeah, it does, but it's for us as a team to have another failure here this weekend is disappointing. But the important thing for us is we have a very good car. I think the team are doing a fantastic job, and it seems that every race we go to, we really do have a chance of winning. So that's important to us.
Thank you for that. And Fernando Alonso, our championship leader. Fernando, you also have won twice here, and now on the podium again. Must be one of your favorite tracks.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Of course, it's one of the best tracks to drive, to enjoy. The weekend in general is out of our normal routine, let's say, of times, etc. So we enjoy driving here. The atmosphere is fantastic. The layout is quite interesting, and it was a fun race again.
You still have 29-point leads in the championship, but yet you haven't won since Germany. Are all your opponents, are they all falling away or tripping over themselves?
Well, in Monza it was Luis winning the race and Sebastian retired. Here is Sebastian retired, Sebastian winning, Luis retiring. So for me it's okay if they keep it doing like this.
Ladies and gentlemen, to everybody out there throughout the world watching this unbelievable show here from Singapore, thank you very much.
So there, the three drivers, differing fortunes, differing reactions, all on the podium here. I just think what Fernando Alonso is looking for now, with half a dozen races to go, is to make it 6 of the best and try and hit the opposition for 6 and be competitive.
Yeah, the problem is, of course, like Spa, where he gets, knocked out of the race through no fault of his own, because he's not scoring the big numbers of points, because Red Bull and particularly McLaren appear to be faster. Every time he has a bad weekend with an incident or unreliability, he's going to hurt badly.
The number one tonight, though, in this numbers game was Sebastian Vettel. And in the end, a comfortable victory for him. Jenson Button couldn't push hard all the way to the finish. Fantastic performance from Paul di Resta and Force India, from Nico Rosberg as well at Mercedes to get into the top 5. Lotus settling for their 6th and 7th, and Felipe Massa in the top 10 after being plumb last at one stage. And it should be mentioned that Timo Glock up there as well for Marussia's best ever finish. First time he's finished on the lead lap since he joined Marussia as well. They beat Caterham and they move themselves up into 10th place in the Constructors' Championship. Hard day on Williams, suffering their first retirement, a double retirement here in Singapore. And for Lewis Hamilton, who could have won this race, but leaves Singapore empty-handed. Alonso then in the championship, 194 points. The lead has been cut down by Sebastian Vettel. Kimi Räikkönen is still there, hasn't won a race this season, but you can't count him out. And as they move down, Bruno Senna and Pastor Maldonado at Williams still separated by 4 points. Di Resta's done his championship no harm at all today. And Glock ahead now of Kovalainen and Petrov and his teammate Charles Pic down at the back. There's the winning car, the winning team, Red Bull, the winning man, Sebastian Vettel.
And how they needed that 23rd win of Sebastian Vettel's career. 37-point lead now for Red Bull over McLaren. They've slightly extended that today, and that is exactly what they needed, Damon Hill.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it just shows you, doesn't it? You can't, you know, there has such a glum face on Sebastian after qualifying. And as Martin said, he had a focused look on him as he went to the grid. We were denied a fantastic potential battle between himself and Lewis. Got a feel for Lewis, got a feel for also for Pasta as well, who otherwise would have had a good race too.
A little bit of luck, but that's what these championships often come down to, isn't it?
Well, we've had a lot of twists and turns this year, haven't we? And it seems to be continuing, and we're in a situation where we've had reliability issues, unfortunately, for Lewis, but of course it was the problems of the Red Bulls, and that seems to have gone away at the moment. So those twists and turns are carrying on.
Okay, at the end of the race, Christian Horner spoke with Ted Kravitz.
Christian, well done. How much do you think this means to Seb? How much does it mean to you after the disappointment of Monza?
It means a great deal. I mean, the disappointment we had in Monza, you know, was huge, and to bounce back and win here is really, you know, important for Sebastian, important for the team, important for Renault, and you know, it's a great performance today.
It's impossible to know what would have happened had Hamilton not had his failure, but to finish first you've got to finish, as recent races have shown.
Yeah, I mean, Lewis on the super soft tyre at the beginning of the race looked quick, but we felt we had the pace on the hard tyre. We saw that yesterday, and you know, it was very unlucky for Lewis. You know, retiring from the lead of a Grand Prix, you know, is always frustrating. We've been there, we've done it, and so you know, but Sebastian drove a great race. He had pace in hand, and it was a matter of then covering Jensen, you know, for the rest. It was not clear whether it was going to be 2 or 3 stop, but you know, great performance. We're sending Ollie Shack up. Ollie lost his dad during the Hungarian Grand Prix, and you know, he was unwavering in his support to the team. He supported the team throughout that weekend, and so he's going to get the Constructors' Trophy today.
Yeah, that's Ollie. He's Sebastian's #1 mechanic, isn't he?
He's not the #1, he's the front-end mechanic, but he's a #1 guy.
Yeah, he is. The guy who straps Sebastian in, hands him the steering wheel. But Sebastian back in the championship, I think you said on the radio.
Yeah, I mean, we've taken 10 points out of Fernando. It was important to beat him today, and you know, there's a long way to go. There's a long, you know, another 6 races, a lot of racing, and we'll just keep pushing.
Yeah, it was a nice touch, that, wasn't it, getting his mechanic, or one of his mechanics, up onto the podium alongside him. But yeah, like, going back to exactly how disappointing it was at Monza, for this, a bit of a psychological blow. They had to do this, didn't they? Outscore McLaren today, really, on a track that you'd think would suit them. Yeah,
absolutely, and I think it's something that is... you know, he's working out for the championship. You know, we've got the world champions that are sort of fighting for the championship itself. And I think it's just making it fascinating how it's twisting around. But I think it's something that we're getting to a point now where I think the pressure, Fernando, you can see his face up on that podium. He is seeing that, you know, they're getting closer and closer.
Hardly mentioned today, was he, in commentary, Fernando Alonso, and yet he's churned out another podium. I mean, 8th this season. He just knows, I suppose he knows where he sits in the race, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, their car wasn't the quickest here. It was quite clear that, you know, in the hands of Sebastian and Lewis Hamilton, the McLaren and the Red Bull were class acts and ahead. Maybe even the Williams was faster than the Ferrari today. This is not a typical track. You know, I think that they can look forward to recovering some form when we get to some of the faster, sweepier type of tracks.
Okay, one moment could have spoiled the whole day, though, for Sebastian Vettel, and this was just under the safety car, the first safety car. We were in Williams, and everyone was, whoa!
We all were, you're right, yes. And it's one of those things, you've got to keep your wits about you, which is what Jensen absolutely did there. And it's something you probably don't expect it to happen there. It's generally sort of in a straight bit, but that was actually into the corner itself. But luckily, Jensen was switched on for that avoidance.
Just shows you the reactions, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, imagine he'd taken Sebastian out. Then, of course, the championship, huge, you know, effect on the championship outcome. And everyone would have been accusing you know, Jensen of being sabotaging the Red Bull. It would be a nightmare.
Have you ever seen that before?
Yes, I have. Yeah, I've actually seen where they actually have touched the back of cars and lost a nose. Actually, having taken the car out in front. But it's one of those things where you've just got to be aware of what's going on around you, because those things can happen.
Not happened to you?
Yeah, we've all had those moments, you know, because it's not, you're not in a normal groove, and people stop suddenly in unusual places, and you know, you do have to keep your wits about you. I mean, I think after the restart as well, we saw with Michael as well, braking points are not the usual braking points, and sometimes it's easy to get it slightly misjudged. We don't know what happened with Michael's situation, but I mean, you know, there's always the sort of slight suggestion that, oh, he braked in front of me or something, tried to brake test me. But we've got sparkly constellation here. That's fantastic.
That's the winning helmet. Now, I know one thing, Damon, you are seriously into your astrology.
Yeah, you're going to ask me,
tell me what constellations they are.
Yeah, well, they're red. That's the Red Bull. And oh, it's gone. The battery's gone. It's the alternator's failed on his helmet.
I tell you, it's a little bit clammy in there, as you'd expect. But yeah, there we are. I only know the plough, and I can't see it on there. We'll give that back. Thank you very much for that, Sebastian Vettel's.
Good job on that,
helmet.
Well done.
Yeah. Lewis Hamilton today, all you McLaren fans, Brit fans at home. This was, just listen to this.
Confirmed we have a gearbox failure. I'm really sorry about that. Did everything we could yesterday. We'll just have to look forward to the next one. Great driving up until then.
Well, this was the view from behind, and I should imagine, you can see the lights twinkling on his helmet there. I should imagine his eyes were twinkling as well as he saw that happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something you know you like to see. You want to have a race, but of course that handed the victory to him in effect, you know, and to Sebastian. And he would have seen that he said that he saw some smoke coming out, some hydraulic failure of some sort that's given Lewis a box full of neutrals.
Yeah, and it's a shame because, you know, he drove so well this weekend. He was proving that the McLaren was very good. He was in the right place to get this race win, and then it just got, you know, taken away so sadly, because it's something that, you know, reliability hasn't been too bad, and then suddenly here it's just unbelievable for him. I feel very sorry for him.
Choked, I should imagine. Let's hear what he had to say to Natalie.
Well, such a bitter pill to swallow, Lewis. I mean, you can hardly hit above the fireworks, but you must be hugely disappointed.
I was when I got out of the car, but that's motor racing, and you know, we had the pace this weekend. It was quite easy in the position we're in, so I think it would have been a nice result for us. But nonetheless, we still got more races to go.
At what stage did you know there was a problem?
We have this thing in our car which when you shift, it has a very like a seamless gear shift, so you don't really, it's such a smooth gear shift, and eventually I lost these what we call E-shifts, and basically then it comes quite an aggressive shift, and so I told the team I've lost my E-shifts, and they said I should be able to see it to the end of the race, and then I lost third gear, and then all the gears went, so it was a gearbox failure for sure.
Your team said to you, look forward to the next race. That can't be an easy thing to do, but your mood certainly has shifted, as you say, in the last hour.
Yeah, definitely. You know, this is we really couldn't afford today, but it is what it is. And the good thing is that we have good pace, and so I've got to go and try and win the next few races.
Can you pull back the championship?
I'll never give up.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, that's telling, isn't it? Never give up. Martin Whitmarsh is alongside me. He put a brave face on it there. How disappointed was he behind closed doors?
Well, of course he was. I mean, he's had a great weekend. Until that point, he was looking after his tyres, he was controlling the race, and you could see what he was doing on the telemetry data. He was just looking after things and really had it in control. So, you know, to have a DNF through no fault of his own is deeply frustrating for him and for us, of course. So, you know, but I think you have got to put a brave face on it. The fact is, we've got a quick car. There's 6 races. There's 150 World Championship points available to every driver, and Suzuka's a circuit that probably we fancied more than this one, as it happens. So we've got to go forward now and make sure we score as many points. And this is a championship that will go down to Brazil. So we've had 3 good races on a bit of a roll, and as a team, Lewis has had some incidents in that. That's what this season is going to be about. I think it's going to be topsy-turvy and challenging all the way through, but I think he's in a very strong frame of mind, and of course we're all disappointed, but we know that we can go ahead and we can win six races, and we can score 150 points. That's got to be our goal.
Was there an element of nursing the gearbox today? Was there some contact in qualifying? Did you take a risk on that, Martin?
No, there was, as you probably know, Lewis brushed the wall, but I think it was very, very light. So I don't think this was something that's come from that. I think the differential, probably the friction materials failed. We don't know. We'll have to find out when we get the box back. So no, I think this is something that we started to see during the race going wrong, frankly. So we knew some time before. Lewis had lost some of the synchronization of shifting as temperatures were climbing. So sadly, we were sat there rather painfully seeing this unfold, fairly, sadly confident from a fairly early stage that we weren't actually going to get to the end of the race. So, Lewis obviously knew some of that, didn't know everything that we had, but now's the time when you've got to show your strength as a team and as a racing driver and his personality to say, okay, it's happened. I don't like it, but I've got to move on. 6 races, quick car, I'm going to try now and score 150 points, and that's what he's going to try and do.
You talked to me at the start of the weekend. You said that this was an important weekend. They're all obviously important weekends towards the end of the season, but bearing in mind you might have thought that this was more a Red Bull track than a McLaren track, and the way the car was going, if you could have struck a blow this weekend, it would have been a real psychological boost.
It would have been a powerful one, and frankly, we thought we were going to go out of here on a really on the attack and closing in on the prey, but. That's motor racing. You've got to say, Fernando's pretty good at getting the car home and scoring points, whatever the circumstance. And Sebastian did a great job as well today. So, congratulations to both of them. They're not going to make it easy for us to win anything, but that's how it should be. It's the World Championship. It's the pinnacle of motorsport. We've got to be fighting. We've got to be at our best. And if things like that happen, then it's our fault. We accept it and we learn from it, but we bounce back. And we're a resilient lot. And at the same time, not forget that Jensen did a great drive today, and again he was, he kept Sebastian honest, and but it was, I think he did a great drive to get that second place. Those were points that we needed, but of course we expected to come away from today with a few more.
Yeah. Hope it doesn't spoil your evening too much. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you in Japan. Thanks, Martin, for the moment. So there we go. A win for Sebastian Vettel. Lewis Hamilton retiring when he was in the lead. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, plenty more reaction from here in Singapore.
Because round the final corner he comes now to close down Alonso's lead and to win for the second year running here in Singapore. It's Sebastian Vettel and Red Bull on top. It's lights out and away we go in Singapore. Hamilton and Maldonado. Decent start from Hamilton. Already Sebastian Vettel covers Jensen Button. Decent start from Paul di Resta ahead of Fernando Alonso. Maldonado's lost out to Hamilton go through turn 2. Oh dear, what's happened to Lewis Hamilton now?
Oh dear, oh dear. That's put the cat amongst the pigeons, hasn't it? Now they all have to react. This is sad. He deserved better than that. Oh, look at Michael Schumacher. He's blocked his brakes and gone clean into the back of the Toro Rosso. This is not normally an overtaking place.
Squeezes the salvo and he's made contact into the right hand. And oh, there's more debris coming off the salvo. And this time it's coming in Kobayashi. And to win for the second year running here in Singapore, it's Sebastian Vettel and Red Bull on top.
Second year in a row for Sebastian Vettel. He's had to wait 10 races, though, since Bahrain for his last one, and confirmation there of the winning position for him, obviously with a little bit of help from Lewis Hamilton retiring when he was in front because of that gearbox failure. Jensen Button in the end in second, and Fernando Alonso just keeps chipping away, does what he needs to do, and an 8th podium of the season for him. Best result ever for Paul di Resta in Formula One. What a performance by him today. Helped a little bit by a couple of safety cars. He won't mind that a little bit. Nico Rosberg in the end in 5th. Kimi Raikkonen in 6th. Then came his teammate Romain Grosjean. Felipe Massa at one stage was right at the back of the pack, but he closed up again, helped by the 2 safety cars. Points for Daniel Ricciardo, and Mark Webber with one to his name, but important to note, Timo Glock, that is the best result in Formula One history for Marussia. Well done then. Further down, as you can see, the retirement of Lewis Hamilton changed the face of this race, but you also have to hold your heart out a little bit for Pastor Maldonado, because after 8 consecutive races without a single point, through a few faults of his own, today certainly wasn't for him. A hydraulic issue, and out he went. And so what it means to the drivers' classification is this: 29 points the difference between Sebastian Vettel and Fernando Alonso. Then further back, a little bit of a gap now to Kimi Räikkönen. Lewis, the difference between himself and Fernando Alonso, it was 37 at the start of the day. It is now down at 52. So real disappointment for him. Mark Webber in below. And then comes Jenson Button with that encouraging second place for him. The McLaren still looks very quick. They will have to take some encouragement from that themselves, won't they? Paul di Resta above Michael Schumacher into 11th. And a little bit further down, Kamui Kobayashi is the one to drop as a result of Paul di Resta climbing 2 places. The rest stay as they were from 17 down. And so the Constructors sees Red Bull at the top. They are now 37 points clear of McLaren, Ferrari in 3rd, Lotus 4th, Mercedes 5th. But as you can see, Marussia have gone above Caterham, courtesy of that 12th place. That bettered Heikki Kovalainen's 13th in Monaco. Let's hear, though, from Paul di Resta, 4th place, best position ever in Formula One for him.
Congratulations, your best ever Formula One finish. That's quite incredible.
Yeah, it's a great result. I think where we qualified with 6, it was obviously going to be difficult to maintain that, but we've raced ourselves through some people retiring. We've managed to pick up 4th, but I think we showed our performance was there in that last stint. We were able to challenge Fernando. We weren't just quite quick enough to challenge him the whole way through the stint, but he's in the Ferrari and leading the championship. But it's a big job by the boys this weekend, and we've pulled it off. Hopefully ahead of Suzuka, we can keep this momentum and enjoy this evening very much.
And a huge confidence boost that your team are even suggesting that you push Alonso for the podium.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see the safety car hadn't come out, because I think he was in traffic at that point, but that is the way it is. To go better on that, we need to qualify a bit better, but we need to tune a bit more speed in our car.
Well done.
Thank you.
Kimi, a 6th place finish. You'd have taken that at the beginning of the weekend, wouldn't you?
I don't know. I think after yesterday, okay, it's fine, but probably we had a chance to do a bit better, but definitely not for fighting for podium. So it's just a very boring race. You cannot overtake, so just driving behind and hope that you can gain some places on the pit stops, and maybe the safety, especially the first safety car, was not very good for us, but then maybe the second save was gave us back there what we lost in the first.
Thank you. Well, Roman, it's a great recovery to have both cars in the points, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. The performance today was pretty good in the race. Unfortunately, we missed the first pit stop, and then was stuck behind Nico Rosberg. I thought he was going for a 3-stop, but the safety car changed the ID. So this is how it is. We're not easy, but we score points with the 2 cars, and that's quite important for the team and for myself.
And looking forward to the next couple of races. We hear about your double DRS coming in Japan. Is that still the case?
Yeah, I think we have the double DRS plus a few things, and the track should suit us better. I think we need to start the weekend in a much better phase that we had here. But here was from where we were on Friday and where we were on Sunday. I think we can be happy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mark, certainly an eventful race. Not the position that you'd have liked, I'm sure, at the start. How much did the safety cars impact your race?
Yeah, I think it hurt us quite a bit. Obviously, you never know when they're going to come out. Obviously, we were on a slightly different strategy to other people, which I think was going well. I think we're looking to give Paul a very hard time for 4th place, and if not a little bit better. But ultimately, I don't think we were too bad. Pace wasn't electric, but we were reasonably strong. We just it's always the fine line of pushing, saving your tyres, pushing, fighting with someone, saving your tyres. And at the end, obviously, I had to pick quite a few people off and tried to redeem some of the work, but it just wasn't enough, and we lost a lot of track position. You always do in restarts. The first 3 or 4 laps, the field spread's huge. So disappointing, but yeah, we'll get back up and go again for Suzuka in a few weeks.
It is a circuit that you enjoy, Suzuka, isn't it?
Yeah, I like it. Also, it was good, we got some good points today from the team perspective, so Seb was a very good result. both had a couple of wins each now. We've got to keep racking them up if we can.
Thank you. Well, this is a great day for both you and Marussia, isn't it?
Oh, it's fantastic. I think Singapore is just my race, and just keep pushing the whole race. I knew we have a chance against Caterham if we stay close in the first stint. Yep. That's what I tried, but for some reason my rear tyres dropped a bit, and I touched the wall, and I thought the race is over because the toe on the rear right definitely was slightly out, and I had every time in the left-hand corners massive problems. But at the end, I just kept pushing, and I just didn't want to give up. It was very difficult to drive, so I had to save the car. In every left-hand corner there quite a lot. And at the end, I think I did 40 laps on the prime tyre, which was incredible for us, and just managed to keep the pace up. And just the last lap was very difficult with the rear tyres dropping off massively, but I think it's just great for the team. It's paying off slowly, and I think what we achieved in the last 3-4 months in terms of development and bringing the car forward is just great for the team.
Well done.
Not too much of that wine, Audrey. Keep an eye on her, Bob. You need to keep an eye on her. But there we go. Celebrations down here in Force India, and as well they might. What a great performance by Paul di Resta.
Absolutely, and it's brilliant for the team. I was just speaking to VJ, and it's he said we just needed a bit of luck with Hulkenberg having his issues. But for Paul, absolutely fantastic. Great time to do it, and hopefully he can carry on that great trend of getting these points.
They look so good, don't they, around street circuits? Why are they so impressive?
I don't honestly know, Simon, but I mean I can venture a few guesses.
Okay.
I mean the car. This is sort of a particular kind of track where you point and squirt, and I think that this car is particularly good. It's quite slippery. The Mercedes engine is quite good for that, and it might have good traction as well, which might be suits them. But I mean, not taking anything away from Paul's job, the whole team looked competitive all weekend.
We could ask Bob. Hello, Bob. Sorry. Terrific display by Paul di Resta.
It was excellent. A great drive from Paul. Very clean and very focused.
Did you think you had the fourth quickest car this weekend, would you say?
I do. I think that was a genuine pace result. I don't think there was anything given to us anywhere there. It was, the team pulled off good tactics, good race. Safety car probably came at the right time for us, but we'll take that. It didn't for Nico, so that was the unfortunate one there.
Yeah, and I think you've got to be happy with the way that the drivers themselves have actually really pulled themselves into a good situation this weekend, because it's a difficult track, but the way the car and the way they've responded and the team, it's something that you can sort of take forward from here.
Yeah, I mean, the team has gelled really tight. I mean, it's working really well behind Paul and Nico. They're giving everything they can, and of course we want to deliver that sixth place, so our beloved leader has set us a very high target.
Have you reassessed your targets for this season? Because we know you're involved right up to the end of last season in that battle for sixth, but it's just a little bit down on where you were last year.
It's probably not 100 miles away from where we were last year, Simon. I mean, it's a bit like the old Man U things, isn't it? You know, Ferguson says it's 90 minutes, we do 20 races.
It must be quite satisfying as well to sort of be showing up your engine supplier's main team.
We won't go there. It might cost us more money.
All right, thanks for the moment, Bob. We've got to head back to the Sky Pad, because we're going to have a look at the Michael Schumacher incident. Does he need to go to Specsavers, Georgie?
I think that's a little bit harsh, side, but we'll get the lowdown from Ant, because, I mean, Schumacher's luck here hasn't been the greatest in recent years, and it certainly wasn't on his side today either, was it, Ant?
Some things come down to luck, some things obviously don't. I don't know whether you could say it's just unlucky. Today, I think, you've got a situation where you've got the bumps... where you've got the bumps coming into this section here of track, and you can see the ripples on the track into there. You've got the 100-metre braking marker board. That's where the drivers know that they can stop the car safely into the corner. So they know from pretty much that line on, you're going to be fine. But obviously something happened to Michael on the way into the corner and actually locked the outside front first after sort of squirming around a little bit. You can see just there that the front left on his car, normally the loaded tyre gives more grip. So, it's normally the unloaded tyre on the inside that will lift up and lock, but it's very strange to see a car locking up there, and then, the other front locks up.
And then this happens.
And pretty much just a passenger. So, yeah, you got to remember that these guys are travelling at, 180 miles an hour into this corner. A split second, a lapse of concentration can end in this kind of result.
Yeah, especially around this circuit. But what about Michael Schumacher? Because there will be some who say, well, he's getting a bit older and, maybe that's troubling him, especially around a circuit which requires such intense concentration as the Marina Bay one.
Yeah, I mean, there is that argument, isn't there? I mean, I always say...
What do you think? Do you think that's the case? Or do you think, like Martin said, maybe it was just an instant where he was concentrating on one thing and obviously looked up and then there we go?
Well, like I said, it's something that can easily happen to anyone, but it's happened to him again. It happened to him in Barcelona with Bruno Senna. I know he blamed Senna at the time, and then you had obviously last year as well.
Well, is this the exact same thing, or is this something completely different?
No, this is definitely different. This is a misjudgment in a racing sense. You've got Perez there just following the natural racing line towards Nico Rosberg, but Schumacher's got a situation here where he's got a clear gap that he could take if he wanted to down the inside, but in a moment where he kind of hesitates a little bit, he's got enough room on his right-hand side. In a slight hesitation, he just collides into the car in front, and the front wing's off, and he's, again, careering, I think, into the barrier. So, I mean, yeah, people are definitely going to ask these questions. Is age a factor? It is, at some point in someone's life. Obviously, you don't live the whole of your life with the same reactions. Whether that happens in your 40s, your 50s, or your 60s, that sort of degradation of reactions, who knows? But yeah, it's something I think that's worth looking into.
It could just be a one-off, or maybe it is exactly that. Maybe it is that problem. But Michael Schumacher once again unable to score points in Singapore.
Sorry, my reactions are going. Let's hear from both those protagonists there. They were speaking a little bit earlier.
Michael, similarly to last year, you've crashed out prematurely from the race. Can you tell us what happened?
I say it the third time, basically. Excuse me, but just braking a bit earlier than I would normally do in that corner. And I need to understand why the car wouldn't stop. I don't know, because braking point certainly wasn't later, was rather early. But the car wouldn't decelerate. Maybe the safety car, the low pressures, touching on the ground, or something unusual that I didn't include, or maybe another issue I need now to investigate that.
Despite his disappointment, an arm round you and with Jean-Eric Vergne, so no hard feelings there.
No, I apologise for this one. I mean, it was clearly on my side. He had nothing to do with that. But nevertheless, I'd like to understand why and what happened.
Thank you. Jean-Eric, hugely disappointing for you. You were really looking forward to this race, weren't you?
I was really looking forward for this race, and at that point we were having a really good race with a good pace, and I don't have much to say about it. Just a shame. I was quite focused on overtaking Perez at that moment, and just happened like this. So yeah.
What exactly did happen from your point of view?
Well, I just think he braked too late and ran into me.
But you put your arms around each other at the end. You took it very well, all things considered.
What can I say? What can I do? The mistake is done, and makes no sense to be mad at him. I just let him. It's just a shame. It's him doing this. I think he's probably the driver the most experienced, but everybody does mistakes.
However, we're all like school children in Williams, because as Jean-Eric Vergne was approaching Michael Schumacher, it was, we thought he was going to clip him around the ear. Did he ever apologise to you?
Well, no, we never really sort of got as far as the hugging and sort of, saying, never mind, old chap. We didn't get that bit. But it was. I don't think there was a big intake of breath when we were watching that. It did seem like a bit of a bizarre accident, and maybe there is a good reason. Maybe Michael will go back and say, okay, well, something's not right, and he'll look for an answer. That's typical Michael.
But it's 7 retirements this year.
Yes, it is. It is. And I think what's interesting for me, if I just go back to that, is Jean-Eric Vergne. Imagine if that was the other way round. Yeah. There would be an angry German trying to hang him around the neck of that Frenchman, that's for sure. It's funny how different they are, because it looks, anyway, as if he made an error. But yes, he's made a lot of errors this year.
Who would take you on?
I don't know, at my height, a lot of people do.
I wouldn't mess with you. Right, on the other side of the break, Ted's notebook in the meantime. This is how the race sounded over team radio.
It's 3/10 in sector 1 and similar sector 2. Michael suggests diff magic for turn 18 to the end of the lap. Rear tires are yellow. Copy yellow. We have a gearbox failure. I'm really sorry about that. We'll just have to look forward to the next one.
Against turn 18, I hit the wall, front is broken.
Okay, Pastor, we have got an hydraulic problem. We need to retire now.
That was very, very stop-start from Sebastian. What happened there? What happened there? Okay, they're investigating the incident with Massa, so they saw that. They just used a straight point with Vettel.
You beauty, Seb. Well done. You're back in this championship. Well done.
Yes! We did it! This for Mr. Watkins up there. Hit Watkins. Be remembered forever.
That's where we're off to next, Land of the Rising Sun. Lot of early starts for you, but who cares? It's Suzuka. You need to push on through all of these ones. First practice session is at 2:45 in the morning on Friday. Take the day off work, why don't you? 5:45 for the second, 10 a.m. for the F1 show. On the Saturday, it's 2:45 in the morning for the third practice and 5 a.m. for qualifying. And we're on air at 5:30, but the lights out at 7. So just an early breakfast for you on the Sunday, no doubt about that. We've repositioned, though, to here outside Ferrari. And Fernando Alonso, just a quick word on him and the way he's quietly going about his business yet again. He just seems to want to shuffle to this title as easy as possible.
Yeah, he keeps getting attacked by either a McLaren or a Red Bull, but then he seems to sort of shoot them down. They seem to shoot themselves in the foot. They're not able to mount a consistent challenge. It's the consistency, isn't it, with Fernando? I mean, partly you have to also say that Ferrari have also given him a reliable car. But you know, he gets through and he somehow survives and he somehow gets the best he can.
With not a lot of help from Felipe Massa. Whisper it, because he's just over there eating his dinner.
Yes, he's not having a lot of help from Felipe Massa, but at the end of the day, it's something that that's what he does need. It's a situation, sadly, for Felipe, it's not really come together. But Fernando, like Damon says, once again, is really just getting the points that he needs.
You've grown. You're cheating.
I tell you what, it's nice up here. And now I know how you won more races than me. You can see a lot more.
Yeah. We had to give him something, didn't we? Make him feel a little bit better.
Willie Carson. Drum roll, please. Here's Ted with his notebook.
Hello, Simon. Yes, welcome to the Singapore Notebook. A very happy, although it doesn't particularly look like it, Red Bull Racing tented area here. We can't really call it a motorhome. And I thought it was really touching, you know. God bless Sebastian Vettel. He's a great guy. You know, he might do the thing about the finger and everything like that, and he might get on some people's nerves, but, you know, he's got real heart and soul and passion for Formula One and for motorsport. I thought his tribute on the radio to Sid Watkins, we got the bust here of the prof that's been sat here on the little table outside the FIA. Was very touching, you know, and it was a life well led and a celebration, and that Sebastian dedicated the win to Sid, I thought was nice, because Sebastian is a Sid kind of person, you know. He likes a dirty joke, he likes a laugh, and even though Sebastian doesn't drink, you know, Sid might have offered him a whiskey once and maybe a big cigar, but Sebastian would have done it. But they had similar kind of senses of humour, I fancy, and this is the Book of Condolence here, and just one from Martin Brundle there. And so let's talk about Sebastian, and he also was joined on the podium by Ole Schack, who's the guy who straps him in the hello, sorry I didn't pose, in the car and hands him his steering wheel. And Ole's one of his front end mechanics, and Ole's father passed away actually in the Hungarian Grand Prix. Ole didn't go, was, you know, really kept strong throughout that, Christian Horner was telling me, and so that's why they sent Ole up on the podium, which I thought was a nice touch. And really, you know, they're accepting Red Bull that perhaps they might not have been in the position to win had Lewis Hamilton not conked out. But what about Jenson Button? And this is something I've been looking into. Look how high they pile these things up. If Jenson Button had pitted a couple of laps before he did, when Vettel was hammed up behind Sergio Perez, might Button have passed him then? And then, of course, the rest of the race would have been very different because Button would have had track position on Vettel. Now, McLaren didn't pit Jenson Button after Sebastian Vettel, so soon after Sebastian Vettel, because they were trying to do the two-stop strategy, and Vettel was committed to a 3. But I've done the maths, and Vettel lost around sort of 6 seconds in that period, and when he pitted, Vettel's lead was 5 seconds. So I haven't quite worked it out, but there seems to be some sort of question as to whether had McLaren changed another strategy as far as Button is concerned, he might have beaten Vettel earlier on in the race. But I think that's probably a bit far-fetched, and maybe he wouldn't have done that, but it's worth looking into. The next race in Suzuka is going to be interesting for Red Bull, isn't it? Because they particularly seem to go very well there, as do McLaren. So an interesting battle for them. Let's talk about McLaren. If you want to just pan around and have a look at the mood there. And it's not particularly happy because, well, because they lost it. There's Jenson Button coming out, and he might feel that don't look at me, look at Jenson Button, God's sake. And it's something that, you know, I feel that Jenson might not appreciate that, you know, they're feeling sad that it was Lewis Hamilton and he's going off for the championship. But anyway, it was a diff problem in the end, and they feel that Jenson really couldn't do much more than that. The gearbox got very hot. Ferrari, yeah, I want to tell you about that. Absolutely fascinating. Stefano Domenicali, they've really packed up shop here, haven't they? Said that it's important we bring development to the car, but more than that, it's important that the parts that we bring to the car work. And I think I took that to mean that he was talking about the rear wing, which they put on, which didn't really stay on the car. So really, he must be talking about that. Sorry if I've switched cameras. I'm not quite sure who I'm meant to be talking to now, but oh, nice little trip over there. Mercedes, not such a bad race for them, with a 5th for Rosberg, and not the result that they were after with Michael Schumacher. I'm sure you've already spoken a lot about them. Let's go down to the end, because I've got lots more information to tell you about the other teams. There's Steve Gutierrez, the GP2 driver, Esteban, his name is. Decent-ish race for Lotus, with some points for Kimi Räikkönen. They pitted him when they did, as soon as they saw the accident, because to wait where he was on the circuit was absolutely perfect for coming in, and they could get him changed and then out into the snake. If they'd waited, then he would have lost more space, because he would have been right at the back as they were all going to the safety car Delta. But Räikkönen much quicker than Grosjean. Räikkönen 6th, Grosjean 7th. Force India, as I'm sure you've already gone into, a brilliant result from Paul de Resta there. And if they carry on the way they're going, just go and have a look at the little party in here. If they carry on the way they're going, then they only need to score 4 points per race more than Sauber to overtake Sauber in the Constructors' Championship. Now, that's quite a big ask, because Sauber haven't exactly been slow recently as well, but I think that's possible. Yeah, I mean, it's possible. They're a strong team, so that's an interesting situation in the constructors there for Force India. Williams, it was first of all, Bruno Senna lost first gear, which didn't help. Then he had a KERS problem, and there was a rather alarming message to Bruno Senna at the end about a KERS problem. He said, we think we have a KERS problem. Don't touch the car. Don't touch the car and touch the ground at the same time, because of, you know, conductivity issues. And we haven't really had any sort of threat to life or limb from KERS before, have we? So there was a real danger that there might actually be some sort of electricity going through the situation there. Toro Rosso I wanted to tell you about. Not really much going on, but a really good result from Daniel Ricciardo, because he pitted under the just before the safety car, actually. So he had a decent bit of track position. Then it was all about keeping that track position. I'm just checking when he did pit. Yeah, it was 31, and then the safety car came out and everyone pitted on 33. So Ricciardo had track position on everyone when they came in for their stops under the safety car. And then it was all about defence. He just kept with his position and managed to block everybody else and defended his position, and actually ended up with 2 points for 9th place. So good one for Toro Rosso. He actually changed his strategy, was going to go to a 2-stop, was going to go 3-stop, and then went back to a 2-stop with the safety car. So excellent work for them. Just to finish up on Williams, hydraulic failure since we're here as Bruno Senna's trainer leaves the buildings. Hydraulic failure for Pastor Maldonado, and it was really sort of put everything on the fritz, and a lot of sympathy here for Pastor Maldonado because he had driven a pretty exemplary race. Caterham, they're pretty their heads are on the floor because it's been 2 years since they had a 12th place, and now, I mean, they're already in that category 2, column 2 for the constructors, which means they get more money, and they don't really consider themselves as part of the Marussia and HRT group in a way, because they've got all these premium partners, they've got a bit of money, they're moving into Leafield, etc. But for Marussia to get that 12th place and move in ahead of them, big smile, is really a bit of a hammer blow for them. But well, we'll see whether they manage to get another 12th place, which will move them back. In fact, they'd have to get an 11th to move back ahead of Marussia this year. But considering that it's been 2 years ago since Caterham last got their 12th place, you can see how hard that kind of thing is to achieve. And there's Pedro de Rosa and Narain Kartikay. Narain, mitigating circumstances for his crash. He had a very long brake pedal, and that meant that it was very difficult to stop the car. The car was also overheating. Pedro also had brake problems, as he smiles, and they had a bit of an issue there. So mitigating circumstances for Narain, sticking it in the wall. And just finally, let's get to Marussia, where the party, I'm sure, is in full swing, and all credit to them because they're a great race team, and they've had such a hard season with the accident to Maria Di Vallota. And there's John Booth. Let's just end in the corner there, Daz. A face of a happy man after a difficult year for Marussia.
Absolutely. We're going to head down that way, try and have a word with John Graham and the guys down at Marussia after the break, which is our last of the day. And when we return, we'll also be on the Skypad summing up the day with Ant and Georgie. We'll have a look forward to Suzuka as well. Disappointment for McLaren this evening, but happiness is a Red Bull.
Gentlemen, all ready for our important guest? Now, let's not have any tomfoolery today, please, chaps.
Or there'll be hell to pay?
Do try to be serious, gentlemen.
Sorry, you're not actually going to wear that, are you?
My bow tie? Absolutely. One mustn't appear improperly dressed in front of...
the Mayoress of Woking?
God bless this wind tunnel and the wind that blows in it.
May I present our two world champion drivers, Jenson Button and Lewis Hamilton?
Why do I have to hold the hose? Go with the flow, bro.
Now, Mayoress, we've prepared a little demonstration. This is what we technicians call a graph.
One assumes this displays the parabola of the drag coefficient, does it?
Well, yes, it does.
Get off my nose, man! And are you able to activate the DRS from here?
Naturally, ma'am.
Get off my nose, man!
I had no idea you were such a fan.
Yes, one enjoys a good Grand Prix as much as the next Mayoress. I also like monster trucks. Do you?
Love them. Not now, Terence. Can't you see I'm busy?
What happened to those two silent racing gentlemen?
Would you excuse me a moment? Oh dear, it's happened again.
What the?
Ah, gentlemen, the professor has been giving me a most entertaining presentation.
Oh, has he? I'm sure he'd want us to continue.
Mom, would you?
Oh, thank you. Love to.
Don't be shy, Mom.
Righty-ho.
That should do it, milady.
Yeah.
Slightly awkward.
Thank you, gentlemen. Most revealing.
So a 23rd Grand Prix victory for Sebastian Vettel. Just about done here from Singapore this evening for the last time tonight. Back to the Skypad with Georgie Nant.
Thanks very much, Si. It was an incident-packed race, wasn't it? And a couple of investigations at the moment are ongoing. And if there are any updates before we go off air, we'll, of course, bring you up to date with what they are. Let's start with the restart and what happened between Jenson Button and Sebastian Vettel, because we know that JB's been called in to discuss this incident.
Yeah, this is what Jenson wasn't happy about at the time, weaving around, trying to get a bit of temperature into the tyres. Vettel disappears off. Jenson thinks, I'll have a bit of that. And Vettel pretty much just stops in the middle of the corner and caught Jenson out. So it's easily done in a restart. You know, you want to generate all the temperatures in your brake, and you do get a bit of a cat and mouse situation going on, an ebb and flow. And it's obviously just caught Jenson out and how quickly Sebastian stopped. Yeah,
it was interesting hearing what Jenson had to say up on the podium when he was being interviewed. He sort of played it right down. Is that what you'd expect him to do?
He probably wants to save himself for the steward's room, I think. Doesn't want to give anything away on the podium. Probably not the best place to do it.
Another instance taking place between Kobayashi and Mark Webber as well. And just talk us through this and who perhaps was at fault here.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. We saw some great racing today. Webber at this stage pushing... Sorry, I just wind it back. Webber pushing Kobayashi onto the marbles there and probably thought to try it on round the outside. We've seen this move succeed in the past. And Kobayashi just driving him out and actually off the circuit goes Webber. So this is what they're going to be looking at. Webber, all four wheels, obviously off the white line there. But Kobayashi looked like he wasn't really going to give in to him, wasn't going to yield. So Webber sort of hangs around the outside, gets the job done on the inside of turn 8, and then Hulkenberg comes through and contacts maybe between the two cars there and a puncture for Hulkenberg. So a pretty messy couple of corners. But
well, they're in the steward's office at the moment. What do you expect the outcome to be?
I mean, all four wheels off the white line, and you gain advantage from it. But you were pushed off the circuit at the same time, so I don't really know, but it's hard to argue with driving off of the circuit.
Yeah, still waiting for a decision on that one, Si.
Thanks for the moment. We've moved down to Marussia. Their best results in Formula One. Graham Loudon, their president, is alongside us. Graham, many congratulations.
Thanks,
you must
Simon.
be a very happy man and a very happy team tonight.
Yeah, I think the team's pretty happy. You know, it's a culmination of a lot of hard work, with all the guys back at the factory in Banbury. And, you know, we've been steadily chipping away, and I think we've been talking about it for the last 2-3 races, and we thought it would come together well here. So we could see from the practice sessions on Friday that we had a good car, and we're racing cars with KERS, and we don't have KERS, you know, so we have to have a car that's even quicker. We don't have the magic button to press, and you know, we're getting there. And then this was a really difficult race strategy-wise, because I had to think a lot on your feet, a few safety car situations, and I have to say Timo did a great job. as he put it, he kissed the wall. It's one of the hardest kisses I've ever seen. But you know, we thought at that time he might have broken the suspension, but you know, he did a really great job, and we're very, very happy.
He's a great driver.
Yeah, and Graham, you've got to say, Timo, we don't talk about him an awful lot, but he's had a wealth of experience over the years. How much has he really sort of influenced the direction of this team? Because
it's massive. You know, he's a world-class driver. He's been in from the very start. I think one of the things about Timo was when he first came to visit us, before we'd even brought the team into Formula One, he understood the challenge, and it was more than just driving a quick car that's already developed. It was going to be a big journey and a job for him where he has to lead the driving side of the team. You know, he has done a great job, and you know, we've had some ups and downs over the last two or three seasons, but all in all, there's you know, the effort that he puts in is great. It's the same effort, same if not more effort for him to fight for these positions and guys who are at the front with clear air in front of them.
You need a known quantity, don't you? You need someone who's been with a team with maybe masses of resources like Toyota, and
yes.
someone, you know, can actually.
You know, I think so, and you know, we're a racing team, and you know, the importance of having a driver with the depth of knowledge that he's got is fantastic. And you know, and also he's we found with Charles this year, Charles done a great job, but it's been the chemistry between the two of them that's helped. So you know, I think, you know, Timo's continuing to do an excellent job. You know, it's our job to make sure that the car's quicker. And then, you know, each time we do, we know that we're getting the maximum out of it, and that's when the experience really comes in.
Graham, we're going to ask you the question about Max Chilton as well. Is it likely that he's going to get a drive for you on one of the Fridays in the 6 remaining races?
Well, that'll be down to John Booth to choose. There's certainly nothing discussed or agreed at the moment, but you know, there's every possibility. You know, Max is a great guy. Won the GP2 race here this weekend, so he's turned out to be quite lucky talisman as well for us. But really, that'll be John's decision, and it'll be made you know, with the best interest of the team and also Max's future career as well. So, you know, we'll see. It's certainly a possibility.
Graham, fantastic stuff. Many congratulations. That point is surely not too far away, eh?
Well, we'll try.
Thanks very much. Appreciate your time. Now, there's still quite a lot going on here in the paddock. This is down at the FIA. Christian Horner is down there with Jenson Button, as you can see, just making his way to the drinks fridge. But that incident under investigation by the stewards under the safety car. We await what happens there with bated breath. Just another reminder of the Japan details for you with those 6 live shows at 2:45, 2:45, and 10 o'clock in the morning for the F1 show on the Friday. There's the details for the Saturday. It's 2:45 in the morning and 5 a.m. for qualifying and 5:30 start for the race, or for our coverage of that. And the F1 show returns with a look back at this and a look ahead as well from Friday. Ted and Georgie from 8 o'clock. Interesting developments down with Alan McNeish and friends in the stewards.
Yes, obviously they've got a lot more information that they can look at. They're going to have quite a busy night, because I think they've got quite a lot of data, TV stuff that they're going to have to go through. But Alan, very experienced, and I think, as we know, he will come to the right decision.
Do you think anything might come of that?
Well, it's a big one, isn't it? I mean, you imagine if
in the context of the season.
Yeah, so, you know, you've got to apply the rules equally, and if the rule says you should maintain a constant pace, and Jenson was genuinely nearly had an accident, then they've got to take that seriously.
Yeah? What would be your take on it?
Well, I think, again, it's just really looking at what's there. But I think with Alan McNeish and Gary Connolly, who's sort of the head steward here, worked with him before as well, he's very sort of much, he will really delve into everything that's there. He would listen to what the drivers have to say. But it does look very sort of right on the edge of being not the right thing to do.
And just very quickly, finally, into these last 6 races, 3 back-to-backers. Things are hotting up, aren't they?
Certainly. No one's going to have time to draw a breath now. I mean, you're going to hit the road. I'm not going to be coming to Japan and Korea, unfortunately.
As well.
So you'll be turning Japanese, and I'll be at home watching it on television.
Thanks, boys, for the moment. Stay across that incident if you'd like on Sky Sports News and also on the website. For the moment, though, it is Sebastian Vettel who has won here in Singapore. From us all here, bye for now.
The land of the long shadows turns seamlessly into night. But some nights are different. Champions descend upon the tarmac brandishing carbon fiber cloaked in color. This is the night of noise. Under the sharpest spotlight fly flares of red, silver and blue. The onlooker stands and stares for a second that lasts a lifetime on the senses. In unrelenting heat, the clock and the curbs are fought again and again until a place on the grid is earned.
And Hamilton's flying in the first sector.
Pass to Maldonado, who seems to have the bit between his teeth.
Take that.
Can Vettel snatch that off Hamilton? No! Lewis Hamilton is on pole here in Singapore.
Now, just the race.
It's lights out and away we go in Singapore. I think we're preparing for action once again, aren't we? Maldonado there, almost losing it.
Bravissimo, Per, bravissimo. Yeah, what a fascinating duel we've got going on here.
Oh dear, what's happened to Lewis Hamilton now? It's all over.
Oh dear, oh dear.
Sebastian Vettel takes over the lead.
Oh, look at Michael Schumacher, he's blocked his brakes.
He's done it again. To win for the second year running, it's Sebastian Vettel and Red Bull on top.